Do you want to know the easiest way to make money in real estate right now? It's called apartment locating. Some people say you're a leasing agent. Some people say that you're a tenant agent or a rental agent. I call it apartment locating. I came up with this strategy 5 years ago. I was a brand new real estate agent in South Florida. I didn't have a network. I had no sphere of influence. And all of my brokers and team leaders were telling me I had to focus on buyers and sellers. I listened to their advice for about 2 or 3 months, and I got absolutely nowhere. I was just blowing through all of my savings, and I knew that I had to find a different way. I found apartment complexes. Let me tell you right now, one more time, this is the easiest money that you'll ever make in real estate by far. I'm going to break down my entire system where in my first year of real estate, I made $80,000 closing about 50 deals. My second year, I actually closed 160 deals. I made $250,000. And then my third year of real estate, I closed 250 deals and I made $510,000 in commission. I'm going to break down exactly how I did it doing apartment locating. By the way, if this is your first time here, my name's Andy Coleman. I'm a 4-time icon agent with EXP Realty. I was actually ranked number 2 in the world. And since I started real estate 5 years ago, I've closed over 900 deals and generated over $2 million in net commission. So I'm going to break down apartment locating for you right now. The very first step that you have to do, you have to get permission from an apartment complex. So it doesn't really matter where you live. You can be in any part of the country. This is going to work just about everywhere. All you have to do is go on apartments.com and type your local area in and search for apartment complexes. Typically, you're going to find that you have thousands of apartment complexes. They're basically ran by one conglomerate, right? Like one corporation that owns the entire building or multiple buildings. And usually there's hundreds or sometimes thousands of units. So it's different than privately owned residences, right? Like this is still residential real estate, but instead of just one owner owning one property, it's a giant company that owns a lot of different doors. Now, a lot of these apartment complexes, they're going to pay a real estate referral fee. Meaning, if you bring a tenant as a realtor to one of these apartment complexes, they're going to pay you a set amount. A lot of times, it's 1 month's rent as the commission. So if the apartment complex was, let's say, $3,000 per month for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, you're going to make $3,000. And I'm going to say it, it's the easiest work that you're ever going to do in real estate. Essentially, all you have to do is show the property. Obviously, a lot more goes into it when you want to close like 10 or 20 of these deals every single month. My record was actually 30 rentals in 30 days. I did it 1 month back in 2022. And ever since then, I've been averaging about mid-20s. I would close about 20 or so properties every single month. Typically, I would bring in about $50,000 on average per month. Now, I did this as a solo agent, meaning I didn't have a transaction coordinator. I didn't have any kind of VAs. I didn't have any showing agents. I didn't even have like a team leader or a mentor. I just did it all by myself. So you can learn directly from me right now. So you're not going to have to go through all the trial and error like I did, because I spent about 16 hours, 7 days a week for years straight to learn all of this. And I'm going to tell you the entire strategy right now. So what you want to do first is go on apartments.com or another site that has apartment complexes in your area. Find where you live and do about a 30-mile radius, because remember, you're going to be doing real estate where you're driving around to different apartment complexes, so you're not going to be farming. That does not work for apartment locating, so just forget about that right now. Now, you want to find the apartment complexes that look pretty nice, because you're going to be advertising these on different platforms, which I'm going to get to in a second. Next up, you want to call these apartment complexes. You want to build a spreadsheet with all the data about the price of the apartment complex. You want to find out if they're paying a referral fee. And most importantly, you want to find out if the apartment complex is going to let you advertise their property. Now, there's two main ways to do this. One way is on Facebook Marketplace, which is 100% free. Facebook Marketplace is completely different than running Facebook ads because you have to spend money on those, but Marketplace is free. All you have to do is basically post the property, the pictures of the property, and then you're going to get leads flooding in. So once you call the apartment complex, just make sure to get all the details about the apartment complex, like what kind of specials they're running, the beds and baths, how many units they have available, their occupancy rate, like I said, the referral fee. And then as long as they say you can advertise it, all you have to do is take their pictures, with permission of course, and then post them on Facebook Marketplace as a property for rent. Now that you've posted the apartment complex in Facebook Marketplace, I want to talk a little bit about which ones that you actually want to post moving forward. It doesn't really matter which ones you start with, but when you want to get good at this, you have to post certain apartment complexes. You have to make sure that the lighting's good, the angles are good, it's a really updated and modern and bright property, and you have to make sure you're not posting like the bathroom picture first, because nobody's going to click on that, and that means you're not going to get any views and you're not going to get any leads reaching out to you. So now that you have your pictures up, your description up, make sure that you don't disclose the apartment complex. That is very important because if you give the address and the actual name of the apartment itself, a lot of people are going to go around your back. They're going to go directly to the apartment complex and they're going to circumvent you. You want to make sure that the tenant that finds this apartment complex on Facebook Marketplace reaches out to you first, and they need you to go and book a tour for that apartment complex. Because remember, like I said before, you're going to get paid a referral fee for that apartment complex. Once they reach out and ask if it's available, you're going to respond with something very basic, like, yes, it's available. Do you want to set up a showing? That's really all you're going to be doing. So what you want to do after you've asked for their phone number is call them up. Once you get them on the phone, is set up a showing with the apartment complex. This is critical. You have to make sure that you give the apartment complex your contact information and their contact information. Because again, like I said, you're only going to get paid if you bring the tenant to the apartment complex. So now that you booked the apartment complex tour and you have everybody's contact information there, depending on the state that you're in, you're going to have to go and show the property. Now, regardless of the state, I recommend that you do this. And there's a very good reason. Actually, there's two reasons why you should always do this. The first reason is, how on earth are you going to turn a renter into a buyer? How are you going to get referrals? And how are you going to get repeat business from that tenant if you never meet them in person? It's never going to happen. I don't care if the complex says that you don't have to be there. It's in your best interest to show up to that place and put on a giant smile and do your research beforehand on the area. You want to know all the local shops around there. You want to know each model even better than the leasing workers themselves. You're going to show them up when you get to this property. If you go to the property and they don't like it, you're going to refer to that spreadsheet that I told you to make in the beginning. You would have a list of all the apartment complexes and you would know all the details and data. So this way, you can tell the tenant of another apartment complex that you think they're going to like better. This way, you don't lose the deal. What if they like the property? That's a major win because, like I said, if you had just shown that one property to them, you've only put in about 30 minutes of work. I'm no mathematician here, but if you're putting in 30 minutes of work, and let's just say the referral fee was $1,500, you've just made a lot of money, right? Like, that's a lot of money per hour, however you want to call it, for just calling them up and booking a tour and then showing up one time. Because the most beautiful thing about an apartment complex, you do not have to do any paperwork whatsoever. Here's the thing. Once you show the property, your job is 100% done. I don't care where you are in the country or different countries. Like this works in like Canada and the UK. I mean, there's a bunch of other countries where this works right now. But if you're in America, in the States, all you have to do is give your W-9 and your invoice to the apartment complex, and you're going to get paid within 30 days of the tenant moving in. This is the easiest money that you'll ever make in your life, and you can do multiple apartment complexes per month. So now that you know that, I want to give you the second method and possibly the best method to get apartment complex leads. Now, this is a little bit more, I want to say, complex than Facebook Marketplace. That's the easiest thing imaginable. All you have to do is take a photo and put it up on Facebook Marketplace. But for the second method, I'm going to give you the basic premise on doing this. Nothing advanced and crazy. I don't want to confuse you right now. So for this one, now when you're calling the apartment complexes, you have to go a little bit deeper than just asking them if you can advertise it. You have to ask them if you can come down and meet them and take a video so you can put it up on your social medias. Meaning you're going to want to put it up on TikTok and Instagram. Facebook Original, that works pretty good too. You're not going to be putting this up on Marketplace. This is only for Instagram, TikTok, and maybe Facebook Original. It works best on Instagram though. You're going to want to create your own separate profile. You do not want to use your personal realtor page for doing this. So you have to create a separate profile. And once you do, go to the apartment complex and film a very short reel. I'm talking 15 seconds. That's it. You want to take the best parts of that apartment complex and you want to stitch it together in a fast but smooth reel. I'm going to put an example up on screen as I'm talking right now so you can see exactly what I'm talking about for an apartment complex tour that gets hundreds of thousands and potentially millions of views. So now that you have your reel filmed and edited and posted on Instagram, I just want to give you a couple little tips. You want to make sure that you get a separate phone line, okay? Like here, look, I have two phones right here, okay? One for real estate leads and one for everything else, okay? So that's very important that you do that because you're going to be putting your phone number up on these reels. And a lot of people don't want to have their personal number on a reel that could potentially get millions of views. You're also going to want to set up a Google Leads form, or if you're a computer programmer, you could set up like a funnel, like a website. You can set these things up if you know how to do it. But a very, very simple way is a Google Leads form. You're also going to get DMs from a lot of these tenant leads. And remember, like I said before, you want to be cautious about exposing the actual apartment complex. Otherwise, they're going to go behind your back. So just to stay organized, you could just make something up. So in that spreadsheet that I told you to make before, in a column, you could just say like, alpha unit or, the sun model or whatever you want to call it, that it's not the actual name of the apartment complex or the model. Otherwise, they can go and look it up themselves and they might go around you. So you can come up with a name that is absolutely your own, only for you to know, so you can stay organized, so you know which property to show them when the lead reaches out to you. From there, it's basically the same thing as it was when we were doing the Facebook Marketplace. You just have to go and show the property, right? And if they don't like it, show them another apartment complex or try to turn a renter into a buyer. It is such an incredible strategy. I feel like every single realtor out there should be doing this, especially if you're not making at least $250,000 a year right now. If you do the math, and you make $1,500 per apartment complex, and you do 10 of these a month, that's $15,000 in commission, and that's without getting any buyers whatsoever, which is never going to happen. If you're doing 10 rentals a month, you will at least get one buyer out of it. But even if you don't, 15,000 times 12 is $180,000. Add in the 10 or 12 buyers at least that you're going to get. That's over $280,000 in 1 year, and you can do this right now. This is how I became a millionaire in real estate in a few short years. If you guys have any questions for me, drop them in the comments. I'm going to make sure to respond to every single one of you.